could step back a bit. Okay. On. 1. Count to 10 or say 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. All right. So, yes, you've heard me already a couple of times at least. I've said meditation teaching level 1 and meditation teaching level 2. And this morning, I'm going to introduce meditation teaching level 2 to you. So, level 1, this is my own categorization. I don't know anybody else who thinks in these terms, but for me, level 1 meditation teaching is when you tell people in the class about the meditation. Let's say it's the mindfulness of breathing. You tell them about the mindfulness of breathing, and you might say a few words around it, like, you know, talking about concentration and absorption and integration, and you tell them about the 4 stages, and then you lead them through it. Yeah? And that's more or less what we've had yesterday, people doing that. And I call that level 1 teaching because it's after they've done the meditation, that's when level 2 can happen. It often doesn't happen, but it can happen then. Because what happens then is you've taught them the technique. That's all you've done so far. You've taught them the technique of the mindfulness of breathing. You don't know what they've done with that technique. Yeah, you don't know what's happening. So what I often say, and I say this to the classes that I'm teaching as well, imagine that I'm a football coach and I'm trying to teach you how to play football, except I'm blind. I can't see what you're doing. So I'm teaching you how to kick the ball, do a penalty, kick a penalty. And I can't see you, so I hear you kick it. And then I say, what happened? And you say, it went over the top. Ah, okay, so tell me how you kicked it. Well, I ran up to the ball and I kicked it with the top of my foot. Okay. Try kicking it with your instep. Okay, then they do that and then they do it. And you see what I mean? If I could see them, I could see immediately what they're doing and say, oh, no, you need to do this. But I can't see them. So they need to tell me what they did so I can talk with them about it. So it's just like that with meditation. You teach them how to do the meditation, and then you lead through it, but you don't know what they're doing. You really don't know how they're getting on. So after the meditation, you need to find out. And I often talk about the blind football coach to people, and I say to them, look, I've just taught you the technique of the meditation, but that's not the meditation itself. Now you need to learn how to meditate with that technique. And I can't help you unless you tell me what you just did. And that encourages people to tell me. Otherwise, they're a bit shy, you know. But I say, I need to know what you did so I can help you get better at it. So that's really important. So how do you do that? So you lead a meditation and then you say, what happened? It's simple as that. How was that for you? What happened? And then in a big class, often people are very reluctant to speak because they're a bit shy. So then what I do is I say, okay then, put your hands up if you enjoyed it. A number of people put their hands up. Then I go round someone and say, what did you enjoy? Tell me what you enjoyed. And then they say, oh, it was really relaxing. It's the usual thing if they enjoy it. I say, oh, that's interesting. And then I make the point. Not once did I ask you to relax. Not once did I even use the word relaxation, but you relaxed, didn't you? Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting, isn't it? And what did you enjoy? Oh, I got so concentrated. It was lovely. I wasn't thinking about anything else. Ooh, that's interesting. Tell me about that experience more. Say more. And then I say, was it enjoyable? And they say, yeah. No. I don't say that because that's a leading question. I ask them more, and they often say it was really enjoyable. Well, they've already said they enjoyed it, didn't they? And I say, well, that's interesting, isn't it? Getting concentrated is enjoyable. You learnt that today. That's really important. Yeah. So now I'm doing a bit of teaching on the back of what they say. I don't tell them concentration is enjoyable because then they're going to try and get the enjoyment and they'll trip themselves up. But if they volunteer that information themselves, then I can teach on the back of that, talk about absorption and concentration and samadhi and all that kind of thing. So then you're teaching based on your students' actual experience. Basically, you want to know what's happened, not particularly so you can teach them, because this is the next thing that order members often do. They often do say, how was that, or they ask for questions. And then when they're asked questions, they answer the questions. Yeah, they answer the questions. Or they give little bits of advice to people. Oh, I was falling asleep. Oh, well, you try keeping your eyes open. My mind was all over the place. Well, try this. So they keep giving advice. They keep teaching. And that isn't always what's needed. Sometimes it is, but not always. So what should you be doing if you're not teaching? Getting into dialogue with someone and asking them about their experience and pulling more out of them. So someone will say, I enjoyed that. Okay, I want to know more. What was enjoyable? They often can't say. They just use another word. Oh, it's pleasant. Doesn't really help. What was pleasant? I enjoyed it. Okay, so you've got to try and get more out of them because they don't know what you're after. Where did you feel the enjoyment? Now, that's a difficult one for most people because they don't know. But it's good for them to ask that question because they think, oh, I don't know. And if you give them a bit of time, they might find it. Oh, it was down here. It was all around my chair. Ah! So what have you done? You've got to be more aware of the experience that they just had than they were when they were having it. They now know that the enjoyment was around here, which they hadn't noticed before. So you've got them to notice something about their experience that they've just had that they didn't notice before. So it's often said that this form of teaching is like a person's in a dark room and it's full of furniture and they keep knocking against the furniture. They just bang their knee against the table leg. It's, oh, ouch. And then they just fell over into the sofa because they didn't know the sofa was there. Wah! And they keep banging against the furniture. What you're doing in this form of teaching is you're not actually, I said yesterday, turn the light on, but that's too much. You're shining a torch for them. You're helping them to shine a torch so they see the table is just there. So be careful you don't bang your knee on that leg again. You won't need to if you've got a torch. Yeah? The couch is over there, so don't fall down there again if you don't want to, sort of thing. So, because everyone's got their own inner furniture, and they're not aware of it because they've lived with it all their lives, kind of thing. But what you're doing is you're shining a light. You're helping them to shine a light on their own experience. You're not telling them what their experience was. You're helping them to see their experience and, in a way, understand it better. So the table's still there. That's part of their inner furniture, maybe a habit that they've got. But they don't have to keep banging against it. Yeah? So the thing is that when you teach someone meditation, you're not teaching a tabula rasa, you're not teaching a blank slate. You're teaching a person who's been around for many, many years and has got their own conditioning and has got their own habits, and especially mental habits. For instance, myself, when I started to meditate, I was really rigid. Here's a nice little story of going to Vajraloka one time, and Vajradhaka gave a little talk on the 5 hindrances, and then he did a workshop, and he asked everyone, do any of you, he talks about the antidotes to the hindrances, and he said, do any of you use the same antidote every time? And I said, yeah, I do. He said, which one do you use? I said, suppression. And he said, does it work? And I said, no. And everybody laughed, because it's funny, because I was using the same antidote over and over again, and it didn't work. And I hadn't really noticed that until he said that. So he shone a light on my mental furniture, my habit to use that over and over and over again. And of course, that says a lot about me as a person, the fact that I've used suppression a lot. So it was really, really good for me to understand that and learn it, embarrassing though it was. So that's what you're trying to do to help people, because you've just taught them the technique, but you don't know what they're doing with it. So you need to find out. You need to open it up. So they become their own teachers in a way. You don't tell them things, but in the dialogue, they learn about themselves. So here's how a dialogue might go. I teach a meditation, or I lead a meditation, mindfulness of breathing. First time someone's done it. I say, how was that for you? Oh, it's really difficult. Oh, it's difficult. What was difficult about it? My mind kept wandering. Oh, okay. Did you ever bring it back at all? Oh yeah, I brought it back. Got any idea how many times you wandered and it bring it back? No idea. Many times, eh? 20? Yeah, probably 20, more, maybe more, yeah. So you brought your mind back 20 times, yeah. And was it difficult bringing your mind back? Oh no, that was not hard. So what was actually difficult then? It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it, for them? Because what was difficult about it? What was difficult, and you get this in the dialogue, what was difficult is they thought they were supposed to keep their mind completely on the breath with no wandering at all, and that was difficult. And they say something like that, and I say, well, that's impossible. I wouldn't ask you to do anything like that. It's far too hard. No. Everyone's mind wandered, and I might even open it up to everybody. Anybody else mind's wandered? Everyone puts their hands up. And I say, my mind wandered too. But the practice is to keep bringing your mind back. And did you do that? Yeah. You did it at least 20 times? Yeah. Well, you're doing the practice perfectly well then. Oh, wonderful. Lovely. It's just like, it's just a misunderstanding that they've got. And if you don't ask them, they're going to carry that misunderstanding through for the next 20 years. Right through every ordination and everything. Unless you help them to see their mental, what's happening, their I don't know, it's not wrong view.